how you think it went, and you had more help this time, which was awesome. But how did it go?
Well, this year's TEDx Redmond was definitely very different. We had a lot more benefits because we had the larger committee, we had more people who knew about it, but at the same time we had the challenge of finding sponsorship, which was huge. So we had all these kids writing lots of emails, calling up companies, and I think it was definitely a lesson in perseverance. And so we had to work, we had more help, but we also had to work harder. So those would be the main ways in which it was different.
Wow, that is an interesting kind of dichotomy there, because that was something I was going to ask you, is that, you pulled in, a sponsor like Bing. So was that just totally a grassroots sort of campaign that you guys put on?
Well, actually, sorry. Bing was last year's sponsor, and they basically came in and said, okay, you guys should go and do a TEDx event. And we were like, oh yeah, we have the sponsor behind us. And then this year, Bing wasn't interested in doing it again, so we had to really go out and look. And then Microsoft corporate, different level, ended up coming in and saying, okay, we'll give you the conference center, provide for the food, and that was just amazing. And then we just went out and looked for other sources for our flights and such, and basically in the last month, right before the event, yes, we were so desperate. We were calling, we were emailing, and we'd purchased flights for the speakers, and we were just wondering if any sponsors would come in. And finally, we did get Kids Helping Kids and Digital Humanity in on this. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Very good.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way, that's awesome. Question, how was it, I know that you co-authored one of the books of poetry with your sister, but how was it working with your sister as part of the team?
On TEDx
I have
Redmond?
a sister too, that's why I'm just being nosy. How was it?
Yeah, definitely my sister, as the team for TEDx Redmond, or the team for the book.
For TEDx Redmond.
For TEDx Redmond, having her on the committee was actually really fun. Although I have to say, it does provide this sort of interesting. After the meeting, if I'm like, Adriana, you haven't been pulling your weight during today's meeting, then it would be way, when it's family, you can be both more affectionate and far more harsh than you would be with anyone.
You're absolutely right, and that's why I was interested in asking you that, because I adore my sister, but in certain settings, it's your roles are kind of changed, and so all right. Thank you.
I think she might have been a little bit resentful that her little sister was ordering her around a little.
Right, but it all came together, which is beautiful. The video, when you did speak at the TED convention, first of all, as an aside, the fact that you infuse it with humor is just brilliant. That was...
Thank you.
Because I was given a selection of stories that I wanted to work on, and I saw your video, and I was like, I want to meet Adora. So that was just extraordinary. How were you selected to speak at that convention? At the TED convention. That was in 2010, though, I think, right?
Yes, in February 2010. TED was actually very interesting. Basically, I heard about TED, and I'd seen the videos. I was a really big fan of the conference, and I thought I would really like to speak. So I emailed them and made a follow-up phone call. And then I didn't think anything would really come of it. I thought that maybe they might consider me for their TED Global Conference in England, because that was coming up in like a few months. And I thought, okay, so there's some lead time here. And I just kind of went to another conference and didn't think too much more. And then about 2 weeks before the TED conference, the main one in California, we received a phone call saying, would you like to come and speak? And that was just, it blew me away, because I had not been expecting the one in California. It was only a few weeks away, and so it was very last minute. I got home from this conference in Ohio I'd been speaking at. I scrambled to write my speech. I got a first draft out in about 40 minutes, and then edited and jumped on the plane. So it was...
So was that to date, at that time, was that the largest crowd that you had spoken in front of? I mean, that's pretty...
It was a huge crowd, but I don't think it's the largest. I believe the largest was 8,000 people in Las Vegas when I spoke at an inspirational breakfast for the real estate company Keller Williams.
Oh, for Keller Williams, really? Wow. I have a lot of clients with Keller Williams. That's interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's funny. How do you prepare when you have to speak for something like that? Like, you had 40 minutes to prepare the other one, but do you really... Are you comfortable just speaking in front of people? Is it something that comes to you naturally, or do you have to practice and practice, or what's your process to do that?
I wouldn't quite say that it's either something that comes to me naturally or something I have to practice a lot for. I see some people who are just, really super, super nervous and have
Yeah.
to, drink several glasses of water and just cool themselves down before they get on the stage and are really hyperventilating. And then I see other people who can just, they can just walk up and own the stage. And I'm
Right.
not quite either. I'm sort of in the middle. I'm fairly comfortable about speaking to large groups of people. The size of an audience doesn't really make me nervous.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, speaking to 10 people,
Yeah.
that's fine. Speaking to 800 people. Quite honestly, I think speaking to 10 people can be harder because you see each one of their faces, and
You know what?
if they're
Yeah.
frowning, then... Well, so the size doesn't really bother me. Definitely if I haven't prepared as well as I should have, then that might make me nervous. But that's generally all.
Right. But that's interesting. Yeah, I agree with you on the size thing. Yeah. It's funny. It's weird. Okay. Sorry. Do you find that kind of being on that lecture or speaking circuit has been your most effective way of getting the word out and saying what you need to say? Do you think that's your
I found
best?
that my speech at TED definitely had a huge impact. People were forwarding it to their friends, and I have actually been recognized a few times because of the video, which has been incredible. So that's definitely had the most impact as far as the number of people who've watched it and who have taken note. But at the same time, I feel like some of the smaller things I do, the school visits, the speaking to groups of kids over video conferencing to motivate them to read and write, that sometimes I can have a somewhat deeper impact because I'm able to really work with them one-on-one. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. That makes good sense. This is going to sound a little weird, but I mean, you've been called a child prodigy. Does that label bother you? I mean, because I don't think it has a negative connotation. It's a glorious thing to be able to say, but does it bother you to be, oh, she's a child prodigy? I don't know. Is it unsettling in any way, or how does it make you feel?
It's a little bit. I would never like introduce myself to someone as a child prodigy.
Right.
I don't get annoyed when people are saying, "Oh, here's Adora Speedtalk, she's a child prodigy," and a lot of my older sister's friends are sometimes using it in a teasing way, like, "Oh,
Oh, I'm sure.
the little sister is the prodigy and stuff." I feel like it's when I think child prodigy, I think of like Mozart, and I'm not him, and
I
so
understand what you mean.
there's a bit of a disconnect there. And also, I feel like it has a little lack of longevity. Like someone's a child prodigy, and then
Oh.
what do they become? So I don't use the term on myself, I guess, for that reason.
No. I never thought about it having kind of a finite connotation to it there, like she's a star. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, thank you. Are you seeing, because of your concept that you're trying to get across, that, learning between teachers and children should be reciprocal, are you starting to see that some educators are getting it? Are you starting to see them sort of feeling that a little bit?
I think so. I think that most educators have really known at heart, essentially, that I am learning from my students. But when people actually really take the time to think about it and realize, wow, there might be even more out there that they can be teaching me, and I should really be thinking about this and how I can utilize it in my teaching specifically, then I see people who are starting discussions and who are telling me things like, wow, you really made me think differently, and that's what I want to see.
Well, exactly. Oh my gosh. In the TED convention, the video that I had seen, which I loved, you thanked your mom and Bill Gates, the laptop and the technology. That was the best. Where did your love of books come, that are, by the way, framing you completely in the background? But where did your love of books come? From your parents?
Definitely. Well, I was always surrounded by books. The books that you see here are only the half of it. I have them pretty much on all the walls in my room. We've got to have like 1,000 books in this house. So definitely just being surrounded by books, and the fact that we were never limited as far as what books we could read. When I was 3, if I wanted to read stories that were for 7-year-olds, then that would be perfectly fine with my parents. It was never, okay, you read number 1 and then you read number 2. We were really given that freedom. And then also the fact that my parents read us really interesting books that they enjoyed, and I think that that's something that a lot of people think, oh, it's children's books, so it's okay if adults are bored by them. But really it's not, because if it's a good children's book, it should be something that adults are kind of guiltily reading in the bookstore too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I carried all the Harry Potter. I lived in Manhattan. Every Harry Potter book was, and you see everybody on the subway was, just, yeah.
Yep.
Love her. Is campaigning for literacy kind of the cause that's nearest to your heart? Is that really what you would consider is really what speaks to you?
would have a really difficult time saying that one thing is closer to my heart than another, because I feel so strongly about each one of the causes that I advocate. I would definitely say that literacy was kind of the first thing that got me going to school, speaking to kids, and really emphasizing this, okay, you know how to read, you know how to write, but do you really love it? Are you doing it on a regular basis? And getting kids to have that greater awareness. So it's even beyond literacy, I think. But definitely was one of my first causes, and it's one of the causes that I continue to champion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The World Food Program, now that's a branch of the United Nations, and it's headquartered in Rome. So how did all that happen, that you became an ambassador? That's just like extraordinary. Congratulations.
It actually had a lot to do with my TED Talk, because my mom had known about one of their earlier campaigns and had emailed someone in charge of it, and then a few months passed by, I gave a TED Talk, and they responded saying, okay, I just found this email of yours that you'd sent, and I just saw Adora's TED Talk, and we'd love to get in touch. And from that, we talked more. I went to some schools to speak about the World Food Program and free rice and how kids could get involved. And then last December, I had the amazing opportunity to go on a field visit to a World Food Program operation in Sri Lanka, so that was a great experience.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Wow, that's an incredible honor. Congratulations.
Yes,
I guess, what do you want people to, and I'm sorry to be looking away from you, but I just bought a new recorder and it's not connected. I should be able to record this so I don't have to be losing eye contact with you. So forgive me if I feel rude as I'm making notes, but I'm having technological difficulties.
Oh, no, that's absolutely fine.
Anyway.
Should I speak a little slower or anything?
No, I'm totally fine. Thanks. I'm totally with you. Thank you. What do you want people to know? I was just moved by something I read in one of the articles about you can really make a difference just by just one small little thing, like saying hello to, the new kid in school, or, you don't have to necessarily, it would be lovely, but, dedicate your life or really spend a lot of time. You can make changes in so many ways.
Yes.
So would that be one of the things that you want people to most understand about the changes you're trying to make, that it's really almost any contribution is a good one? Not to put words in your mouth, but,
And a lot of parents, and maybe you've seen parents do this, will be kind of comparing their kids, and sometimes a teacher or someone who's been in the audience will come up to me and say, oh, I wish my son or daughter was doing something like this. And it'll be, of course, in a joking or humorous tone, but I see that a lot of people are like, well, that's Adora's Speed Talk. She's doing this because, it's something special, because, of course, she's a child prodigy or something like that. But I feel like none of us can excuse ourselves from making a difference by saying, well, you only do that if you're a celebrity or if you have a lot of money or if you have power. Every single one of us can make a commitment to doing good. And whether that means, flying to Africa and bringing in, airdropping food, or it means saying hello to the new kid at school, every single change you make that's a good one is good for the world.
Hear, hear. How can people align with you to support you in your goals or volunteer? I mean, is there a way? Because what part of what Positive Impact Magazine does is, try to make those connections and help people like yourself to kind of shore up their ranks and have more people to assist them. So is there an easy way that we can put that word out for you, or a way for people to get in touch with, you know where I'm going with this?
Definitely. Well, I have several different ways that I do outreach as far as my causes. One of the ways is on my blog, on my website, speedtalk.com, and then with TEDx Redmond, soon all the videos from this year's conference will be posted, and this is a great way for peers to be able to learn from their peers and see real concrete examples of young people making these small changes, having a big impact, whether a lot of our speakers this year really exemplified that, let me make a small change and see its impact. And so TEDx Redmond would definitely be a great way for people to see that exemplified.
Perfect. Good, because I want to make sure that we incorporate that. Do you believe in destiny? I mean, do you think that this is kind of something you were born to do, or have you ever given any thought to that?
I don't quite. I've never actually really thought seriously about, do I have this sort of path ahead of me? I feel like we all kind of make our own path. A little bit of it is determined by, how we're raised and where we go to school and stuff, but it's really up to us to carve out where we want to go in life.
Absolutely. Just a couple more. Do you, you're probably tired of answering this question, I'm sorry, but I know that you have kind of accelerated educationally and you're now taking high school courses. So, do you plan on going to college? Or and if you do, what do you know what you want to study? Or have you really given that much thought yet? Or where you want to go? Or have you had time to think about any of the above?
I've definitely done some thinking. I've been looking for college recommendations because everyone always does ask me like where do you want to go to college, and I'm
Yeah,
never able to give a solid answer because there's just so many out there. And
I know.
I want to study so many diverse areas as well that narrowing it into one degree or even
Yeah.
two may be a little bit difficult. But basically, I'd like to study something along the lines of education, social sciences, and journalism. So the whole
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
I'm sort of interested in like international relations and stuff like that as
I
well.
was going to
So
ask you about that. Yeah, that's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking would be an interesting fit. Not that I know you very well, but just from reading about you, would be an interesting fit. Um, okay, so you're actually attending high school online, but I read in in the Sip of Life piece that your mom sent that you're taking cooking and drama. So those aren't online. Are you still taking those?
that was actually last year at the junior high. This year I'm taking APR history and biology. So yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Pretty
how is it?
fun.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I definitely like it. Although, definitely with the AP class, art, I never knew art history that there could be so many different facets of like culture and art and history. So, yeah, it's a great class.
So you're eating it up. Good,
Yeah.
good. What do you do just for you? Like, what's your kind of selfish indulgence when you're not doing something that's sort of, bigger than you are, which, and I mean that genuinely,
Hmm.
that with respect for what you do. But, what do you do that's your selfish indulgence that's just your, I'm a young woman and this is what I love to do. What do you?
Well, this weekend trick or treating. No,
Excellent.
that's yeah. My costume was actually a sort of this 1800s pioneer girl, so I got really dressed up, and I've been kind of binging it on candy for this past couple of days. That doesn't really count as a hobby, much as I'm sure kids around the world love it too. But I do. I love hiking when Seattle
Ooh,
weather permits, and
yeah,
so hiking, writing, I would consider sometimes my selfish pleasure because a lot of my
me
writing
too.
isn't for, super wide consumption. I do a lot of just short stories that it's mainly me reading and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely can relate to that. I mean, there's nothing to me more indulgent than just being able
Yes.
to do, yeah, what I love. Yeah, I understand. Just a couple more questions. Of, it might be hard to pick, but of what are you most proud? I mean, you're incredibly accomplished, and have so many more things ahead of you. But at this juncture, what would you say you're most proud of? You,
Hmm.
yeah,
I have um I have a few different things that I'm very proud of.
yeah.
Speaking at TED is obviously one of my proudest accomplishments because of the impact that it had on people and the number of people that saw it. But I do also have other things I'm really proud of. When I won the National Education Association's Award for Outstanding Service to Public Education, I was just
Yes.
really enthusiastic because it was this gathering of teachers and to be recognized by this very prestigious association for something that I really care deeply about, education. That was definitely a very exciting moment for me.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. Um, and this is probably a stupid question, but do you feel you've made a positive impact? I mean, are you personally? Because I'm going to say that I would think you're intelligent, you're articulate, you have passion, so you probably set the bar pretty high for yourself, I would assume. So, do you feel that you've made a positive impact? Are you happy with how things have gone with what you've done so far?
I feel like to say, okay, I'm happy with what I've done is kind of like what I should be saying when I'm on my deathbed and after I've totally
I know.
everything. I'm definitely happy with with everything that I've done so far, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to just stop here.
No, of
I
course,
think
of course.
that at the same time, I don't want to. I think that it's possible to get yourself stressed out by saying, okay, I published a book at 7, published another book. Now I need to keep on going up, and I feel like I shouldn't look at it as just one line graph going up. That progress can come in so many different ways. So yeah, I definitely am happy with where I've come, but I need to keep on going in some direction as well.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Well, long may you wave.
Thank you.
I kind of think, bear with me for 1 second. I'm just doing a quick scan and making sure that I'm in denial that I need to wear reading glasses all the time. So I don't have them in front of me, so bear with me. I think that's everything that I wanted to ask you, actually, because a lot, that I don't want to keep you, and a lot of stuff I can fill in the
Okay.
blanks. I think that's kind of it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Feel free to write if you have anything you want to clarify.
Oh, that would be lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. And I wanted to ask you, if I hadn't already, forgive me, that they want a high resolution photo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think. Let's see, Mom. Do you have a? Yeah, my mom will have a high res photo.
And yeah, and just and they want the photo credit. So, like, for example, if it's
Okay.
something your mother took or whoever took
Then
it, because
it'll
we
just
need
be.
to
Yep.
we need to acknowledge them. And we'll send you, I think,